Hello, and welcome to Men's Survival Guide to Women. I'm your host, David Crowther, and it is a Leap Monday. And for that reason, I'm going to do what I do every other day and answer some questions. So I have a question coming from a guy, of course, and he's saying, I often go out to places and the women I really want to meet aren't the women who are just there to hang out, they're the women who are working there, who are maybe the bartenders, barmaids, maybe they work behind the counter of a cosmetics store, but for whatever reason, he really wants to go and meet these women. And obviously, for many, that's easier said than done because there is a definite feeling of if it goes wrong, there'll be all these people staring at you, or she gets hit on all the time, perhaps. And really, what this all boils down to is don't be sleazy, of course, and make sure that you really are standing out from the other guys, because if she's a somewhat attractive woman, this is, whether she's working there, she's obviously, for most men, she's a captive audience, as horrible as that sounds to say. She is stuck in this place, and, especially somewhere like a bar or area, she's going to have all these drunk guys hitting on her. Makeup counter, less so. And in fact, I would probably draw a distinction between women who have quote-unquote boring jobs, because you could, in all honesty, make their day, assuming they don't have a boyfriend or, already in a relationship, and they're just like, okay, well, I appreciate you making my day better, but, I'm in a relationship. And that's a really cool thing, by the way, just to be able to get good at walking up to women and making their day for no other reason than, you wanted to see if there was going to be a connection there and you really wanted to meet her. Now, the really key thing I always tell people, do not show interest in her straight away. Don't walk up there and be like, oh, you're fucking adorable. You can do that if you've got literally no time and you just want to get like a quick baseline response, like yes, no. But for the majority, they've probably had guys do this a lot to them. And you're really communicating several things. One is that it's a very base level communication. I'm attracted to you physically, which is great if you just happen to be her type. But there's a good chance that you're in the vast majority of men that aren't her type. I'm quite happy to tell you I am not the ideal guy for most women. Women don't look at me and go, oh yeah, that's my guy. Right? However, I know that given time to demonstrate my personality, I become very attracted to women because there's all these traits that they get to learn about me. And that's one of the great things about being a guy is women are looking for a myriad of traits in an attractive mate. So one thing that's really good then is instead of talking about her look, you compliment something that's not so specific about her. So, for example, you might want to say, I just had to come say hi, you had a great energy, right? You could also do funny stuff. So again, go back to the cosmetic counter example. You could say, hey, real quick, do you think this, whatever she's selling, would bring out my eyes? And she's selling lipstick, and she's like, you're like, no, I'm just messing with you. How's it going so far? You selling anything good today? And you just want to break them out of the pattern because they are in that work mode. And there's a good chance they have to get back to that work mode fairly quickly because they're doing a job, they're getting paid. But you want to be able to get in there, break them out of that work mode so that you can, demonstrate your personality, get to learn a little bit about them. And then at some point you can't talk apparently. You're going to want to grab a number if it feels like there's a bit of a connection. And the way I would recommend you do this is you say, hey, you seem like you'd be kind of a cool, interesting person. I don't know you that well yet, obviously. But, based on first impressions, if you don't let me down later, you seem like you could be cool. And she's like, oh, thanks, whatever. You go, okay, so let me grab your number. And if we still like each other when we talk on the phone, then maybe we'll hang out sometime. And you can hear all these qualifiers in that, like if she's like still this cool person later on, and if you guys talk, then maybe you'll hang out. And the goal is just to make it as low compliance as possible. Because in that situation, especially in the daytime, and this is mostly what I'm telling you today is geared towards daytime, you really don't have a lot of time or a lot of stuff to work off, especially if she's doing her job. So it's all going to be about very, very genuinely demonstrating that personality, softly getting a number and taking it from there in a way that's not too direct or dominant, because most of the time, unless, as I said, you're her type, she has a lot of guys that are very direct and dominant, and, you know, it just doesn't really differentiate you from the other guys. You're just one of many, many men who've just come up to her and hit on her. So that would be my very, very quick guide. There's obviously a million hours worth of stuff that we could go into, but for now, I'm going to leave it there. If you struggle with meeting attractive women, then check out my website, survivewomen.com. And if you go there, we have a 90% off a course as well for meeting and attracting, which we sell via Udemy. And we will be back with a new episode tomorrow.